So, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. My name is Vishnu Dutt, and today we are into our second class of machine learning from scratch. And here is the agenda. Agenda is going to be very simple, guys. We will be starting from today's class from exact point where we stopped our last one. And in the last class, we were talking about breaking machine learning, right? Because it is always easy to break a complex problem into multiple parts and then learn the individual parts so that finally we can just club them together to understand the big picture. And this is exactly what we are going to do. And you all know when we broke or when we broke machine learning, we as a first point, we got data, and this is our starting point. We will introduce some terminology, some terms in today's class also, because terms are also important, because these are the only thing through which you are going to talk with somebody who knows machine learning, right? And today, formally, we are going to define machine learning. What exactly machine learning is? Once again, we will be talking about, as you all know, right? We will be implementing all these things into some programming language, and that programming language is Python. So we'll talk about a little bit about coding, how people used to do coding in past and how exactly it has changed. So believe me, if you do not have any idea regarding coding or Python, that is perfectly fine, because we will use some intelligent way to learn coding, right? Overall, it is, if time permits, we will try to plot some data using Python, right? But if it is not, that is perfectly fine. If you give me your next 1 hour and 10 minutes, believe me, these concepts, these terms are going to be with you for a long period, okay? For a long time, you can say. So I need your concentration, your attention for next 1 hour and 10 minutes. Having said that, let's move to the first board, where we'll be talking about what happens when we break machine learning using this hammer, right? And you all know that what happened. We come across four different problems. Number one is data, number two is model, number three is learning, and number four is implementation, which you can see right here, right? And we all have decided to start with the data because data is kind of a raw material. Didn't get it? Believe me, if you want to cook a dish, right, on your own, what do you need? You need ingredients. You need raw material for that, right? Just like for our dish, raw material or ingredient is the most important thing to understand machine learning, or to machine, how machine are going to learn. The most important thing is data, and it is wiser to understand this data. Although data science is totally different field, but we will take little portion of that, right? Uh, it is actually, if I want to spend only in data science, how big exactly data looks like, how to study data, it is going to take another 12 classes, believe me, right? So we'll try to understand the data from fundamental viewpoint, from whatever we want to learn from the machine learning viewpoint. And then let's see together how exactly this data is so important for machine learning, right? Having said that, let's move to the next board, where we will be talking about, again, the same data which we discussed in the last class. But here what I have done is I have increased number of rows here. If you see in the last class, we have only 4 rows, right? Now I have introduced 3 more rows. And interestingly, the salary is depending on the number of years, right? But one major change has happened between the last class data and this class data. And this is the question you all were wondering, right, in the last class, that Mr. Vishnu, whatever you have drawn till now, means whether it's years versus salary, or basically price of the house from its size, all were forming a straight line, right? And this is what I wanted to say, that real data, it is not necessary that it is going to form a straight line. Always it is not going to form that straight line. Then you must be thinking, Mr. Vishnu, does it mean that whatever we learned in the first class is absolutely waste? No. Whatever the fundamentals, the foundations we learned there, we are going to use that only. Believe me, right? But then you can say, Vishnu, now we are not having the straight line. If you see here, we if we draw all these points, the line will be like this, which is not straight. And whatever we studied in the last session, right? Everything was a straight line. So let's leave machine for a while. Suppose we have Mr. Rahul again, and I would like to give the same problem to Mr. Rahul that Mr. Rahul, analyze this graph and just let me know what is the salary of a person who is having maybe 7 years of experience, which is not in this graph. We have number of years as 0.5 means half year, means 1 year, 1.5, 2, 2.53. If you ask me, then I am going to tell you, but can human or can Mr. Rahul predict the same formula for this table? Right? Anjali has proven that the same formula is for a straight line, and definitely we are not making straight line, and Rahul is totally confused here. If that is the case, how he is going to predict the same formula, right? But now, because we are humans, we can solve almost any problem, right? So Mr. Rahul is saying that, of course, I cannot draw the straight line here for sure because, right, because this is not the straight line, but I can draw one line maybe which can pass very closely to all these points. Try to understand what I'm doing here. If I draw a line here, you would say, no, Mr. Vishnu, or no, Mr. Rahul, this is very bad line. It is very far away from these points, right? So what I'm going to do, I know that how to tilt this line and how to move this line in upward and downward direction. You remember, we are just using the same fundamentals there because to tilt this line, we use W, right? If you try to understand, if you remember, the formula, previous formula was salary is equal to W into number of years plus B, right? What was W there? W was controlling how tilt this line is, and B was controlling from where we have to start this line, right? So if Rahul has drawn this line, Rahul understand, no, this is very bad line I have drawn. Maybe I need to increase it tilt, and maybe I need to increase it a little bit up. So what Rahul has drawn, just see here, right? If I change the color of the pen, so Rahul has drawn this time this line, and he's saying this is the line which is passing through most of the points very closely, and this is Rahul's prediction that this is the line, this is the solution. Very, very interesting, right? Because Rahul, as a human, he understands that the trend is still the same. If we are increasing number of years of experience, mostly salary is also going to be up. But you can argue with me, Mr. Vishnu. See, a 2.5-year experienced guy, right? And a 2-year experienced guy, just try to see the difference. A 2-year experienced guy, which is having less experience than 2.5, is earning approximately 8.5. But if we talk about this guy who's having more number of years of experience, means half an year more, right? He's just getting 8.2. How come on earth this is possible? Because the salary of an individual is not always dependent on the number of years. You all know that if this guy, maybe 2.5-year guy, has done some more certification, that is why, right? Or basically 2-year guy, which is junior, has done some more certification, that is why he's getting more salary. It is as simple as that. But the general trend is still the same, and that is why Mr. Rahul is saying that mostly, right? This is my line, and he knows that for this line, I can calculate W and B, and if I calculate W and B, my formula is going to be same because I'm still predicting or I'm still drawing the same line, right? And if it is a line, we will be talking about W and B. So it doesn't matter. If we are seeing the trend, we can always find a line which can fit into this trend, right? Definitely, my machine or this line is going to tell me wrong information. From at 2.5, it is approximately 9 years, right? Right? But at 2.5, the data is exactly 8.2. There is some error, right? But the whole soul game is not to fit this line exactly on the same point, otherwise it is not going to be a line. As simple as that. We have to generalize thing. But now if we have this formula which Rahul have calculated, means the one which is corresponding to this green line, we have the same salary is equal to W into Y plus P. And now we can put any number of years, right? For example, this table is having only data till 3 years. Now I can fit the number of year as maybe 4, 4.5, maybe 10, maybe 12, maybe 18, and so on. And this is the whole soul, right? And that is the whole soul essence of machine learning. But right now it is not done by machine. Who has done this? This is done by Mr. Rahul. But with the same tool. See, Rahul has drawn this line and saw that I need to tilt it. I need to move it a little bit up. Means I need to change the value of W and B. Same problem is going to be solved by machine now. What we are going to give? We will be giving this data to the machine, right? Number of years of salary, sorry, number of years of experience and salary, right? And then and we will tell the machine, see, the prediction is linear. Linear means if number of years of experience are increasing, salary is increasing, calculate a linear formula for me. Machine knows the definition of linear formula. It is going to say there is some relationship between salary and number of years, but it doesn't know. And that is why it is going to calculate W and B, and you all know how it is going to start. It will start from any W and B and check with what salary it is coming. And then it is going to adjust the W and B so that it can also reach to this straight line, which is closer to these red points. As simple as that, right? See, still the foundations, the fundamentals, whatever we have read in last class is going to be absolutely same. But you must be thinking, Mr. Vishnu, see, 7 rows you are talking about, but the data is more, right? So I will take you to the data which is little bit more closer, which is more closer to the actual data. Let's see what is happening here, right? Although I'm saying it is more closer, it is not the exact data. Exact data is totally different, but we are trying to understand the data first, that how it is going to be different than our first class. Okay, first thing, it is going to be lot more. Second thing, it is not going to be on straight lines, but you can predict the trend actually, right? So just like Rahul in this picture predict the trend here, he predict the green line. Similarly, the machines can also predict this green line by adjusting those W and B. Of course, we need somebody to guide machine, whether we need to increase the W or decrease the W, increase the B, decrease the B, and that is actually my algorithm. And don't worry about it. In the fourth or fifth class, we will be talking about this algorithm, and you will be amazed to see how clever human being is, how clever these mathematicians were who discovered this algorithm. You will 100% love it, I am sure. Now, let's talk about one data which is a little bit more close to, to the real data, right? Now we have almost 100 points here, right? And if we have 100 points here, you can see still the trend is same. It is growing, right? If we increase the number of years of experience here, salary is increasing, no doubt about it, right? For some point, it might be decreasing, but the general trend is still the same. Now, if I give the same problem to Rahul, Rahul must be confused now. How I can draw this line, right? He maybe start from here, right? Let's choose a green pen. He may be starting from here. But for now, Rahul, these are 100 points, and maybe in the real data, these are 1,000 points, maybe 1 million points. But we need to predict this line. If we need to predict this line such that it is the best line, right? Or the line which is almost fitting or the closer to this point. We do not know what this line is. Very bad line I have drawn like this, right? And now we need more calculation. At every point, we need to calculate what is the cost. Remember the cost we discussed? And we want to minimize. We want to draw a line so that this cost is minimum, right? And I know that whenever you guys, especially network engineers, hear that term cost, right? You must be thinking this cost is very much related to the OSPF cost, yeah, or the routing protocol cost. Absolutely, you are right. There also we want a path which is having least cost. Here also we want a line which is resulting into the less cost, right? Or the least cost. By the way, if you haven't attended the previous class, believe me, understanding today's class is going to be very difficult, right? So if you haven't seen it, I advise you to see that class first and then come to this class. Or maybe on Saturday and Sunday, just go into the sequence to learn about it, right? I think we are pretty much clear about this point that doesn't matter if we find the linear pattern means if something increasing based on anything else, right? We find this pattern, we can think in our mind to fit a line just like we can think because at the end of the day, what Rahul is doing, Rahul is adjusting this W. Rahul is exacting the, Rahul is actually, right? Rahul is adjusting this W or maybe B, maybe up and down direction. And then he came across this. Similarly, the machine can also do the same thing. There is no doubt about it, right? We are going to feed this 100 points or basically number of years of salary, sorry, number of years of experience and salary to this machine. And this machine will be telling me, right, the W and B, which are just like this machine. As simple as that. Right? But now Anjali has explained all these things to us because Anjali has that specific method, a procedure of doing things. And now it seems our character, Mr. Rahul, is also very much comfortable, right? With this. But before that, I would like to tell you some terms also. And we are in the position to understand some terms. By the way, what we have here is the same thing, right? We were talking about this from the last class. We have number of years of experience, we have salary, and now I would like to showcase you how we can write this. For example, at the end of the day, we need to feed this data to the machine and we need to understand how we are going to feed this data to the machine. Because if we want to implement it, we need to use some programming language, right? Without going too much deeper into the programming language, okay? So what is happening here is, what I have written here is the number of years of experience. And what I've done is I have taken the help of these brackets, you can say, the opening bracket and the closing bracket, and I have put all the numbers, number of years with this comma. What is this?
Can anybody? This is Burak. Yes.
Yeah, Burak.
Your voice interrupted, and I wonder, is there any problem?
Oh, is it? Does it happen to everybody? I
Your voice is okay. Yeah.
Okay, maybe
Yeah,
then the
it's fine.
glitch at your end, Mr. Burak. But don't worry. Means if you
I
see it,
see.
see if you see it the
Sorry about
recording,
that.
yeah, no problems, no
Okay.
problem. That is fine.
Sorry.
So what I was telling is I just written this column, right? The complete column in this way. I can definitely write it, right? So just feed this into your mind. Somewhere we will be using this form of representation when we start doing little bit coding. Okay. Similarly, I can write this salary like this, right? And also I can write this data in another form. See what I have here, I have put the brackets here, right? What is the zero representing? Of course, number of years. What is the salary? What is the second number in this bracket represent? This is representing the salary. Similarly, here years, here salary. So the same data can be represented with this way. By the way, this number of years is known as your input. We also call it as feature. The salary is actually your output. Then you must be thinking, Mr. Vishnu, don't you think you are trying to confuse us? And I will say, why? Because you said just now that we are going to give these two things, years, number of years of experience, and salary to the machine, right? And then machine is going to predict maybe the value for number of years which are not in this data. And to best of our knowledge, we understand that whatever we give to the machine, it is known as input. Why you are calling years as input and salary as output? If you have the same doubt, same question, we will be talking about this in the next board. So we call this years as input or maybe feature, right? And we call this salary as output or label. Just feed somewhere in your brain because we will be using these terms again and again. But to begin with, we need to explain, we need to understand why years is salary, sorry, why year is input and why salary is output. We need to understand it, right? And here you go. Let's go to the next board. Yeah. And this is the whole soul essence of machine learning. Believe me, if you understand this board, you understand most of the things. So what is happening here? See, we have, instead of Mr. Rahul, we have our machine, right? With the whole sole intention of finding that formula, which can give me, and now this points can be anywhere, but we have predicted, the humans has predicted that there is a linear relationship. I mean, if this axis is growing, this axis is also growing, right? If that kind of the relationship is there, machine is ready to find that line, which is closer to this point, right? So what we are going to give this machine? We will be saying that machine, here are your number of years of experience, right? Now you have to predict the value or the salary for a guy who is having experience of 4 year, 5 year, 6 years. Previously, you remember when we started our journey of machine learning, machine was crying that I do not know because I do not have this data. Now machine has taken this as a challenge. It is saying, okay, give me number of years of experience and I will start predicting value of W and B, right? And eventually I will start saying the number of the salary for the number of year of experience, 4 is this much, 5 is this much, and 6 is this much, and this is going to be the machine prediction. But the whole sole point is how machine are going to find this W and B. Machine is going to find this W and B on the basis of this salary, right? For example, suppose you have given this machine as 0 and machine predicted a value of W and B such that for a 0 or a 0.5 year experience, guys, it has predicted the salary is 3.5. What machine is going to do? Machine is going to check against this salary, that what is the salary which is given, which is in the data itself, right? This was my input and this is not my input, but I am going to check against this that what I am predicting. The output is definitely 3.5 here by the machine. Sorry, this is the prediction by the machine, which is saying that for 0.5 year, the salary is 3.5, but when it matches, it is 4.1. And on the basis of this, it is going to increase or decrease the W and B. You all know, right? With the help of an algorithm. So what this salary is doing, just try to understand. This salary is guiding the machine to come up with the W and B. If you don't get it, let me explain you with another example. Suppose we have a student here, right? Maybe this student age is maybe 4, 5 or 6 years. And here is the teacher, very good teacher. And he has given this problem to this kid that what is the answer of 2 when we multiply 2 with maybe say 6? Who knows the answer? Of course, teacher knows the answer, that the answer is 12, right? But kid is still learning. It can say, maybe it is saying that the answer is 11, right? And Mr. Teacher is saying, no, you are a little bit wrong here. Just increase a bit, right? Or maybe next time also, when you say 2 into 6, this guy says answer is 7, which is still wrong. And then this guy say, no, 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 you have to increase more. Then the next time it is going to say 2 into 6 is maybe 21. Then this guy is going to say, no, decrease a bit, man, right? So how this teacher is able to understand this? Because he understands that the correct answer is 12, right? And once you teach this kid, now he is going to say 2 into 6 is equal to 12. Along with that, because if he understood it clearly, he can explain 2 into 7, 2 into 8, 9. But initially, this guy need some training. And who is giving the training? This teacher. Now just try to understand. When we give number of years to this machine, the machine can be wrong, right? For 0.5 years of experience, it is saying it's 3.5, but in the actual data, it is 4.1. So it needs to adjust the value of W and B, and that is the whole point. Once it can adjust the value of W and B for all the points, maybe at that point, it can calculate a line, and then it can say, this is the formula. Maybe the salary is equal to W into number of years plus B. And now if you put, because now machine has predicted value of W and B, how it is going to do that, we will be discussing in next classes. But years, you can say, now you can feed into any data and machine is going to say that, yes, this is the solution. So now again, this was your input, right? This was your input. Machine needed this. This is kind of your teacher who was helping machine to come across this W and B or the formula, right? And that is why we are saying this as a label or output. And now once machine has found the formula, it is ready to give any salary corresponding to any number of years, maybe 18 years, 20 years, which was not in the first data, right? This is also known as my training data, right? This one. Once machine is trained, it can give the answer of the salary of a 20-year-old. Sorry, not 20-year-old, a guy with 20 years experience. As simple as that, right? And now with that, I think we are good. This is your input. The salary is kind of a guide, which is calling as we are calling as a label or output. And once machine can tell me the salary of a person which was not in the table, we are saying machine has predicted this value. And machine is going to say, okay, I have predicted this, but I am 95% sure on this answer, right? Because even Mr. Rahul was not sure on the answer, although he was able to create this line, but this was just his prediction, Rahul's predictions, right? And machine can't be better than that. Machine has also calculated that W and B. For that, it is going to give the value, right? I hope, right? This is the whole soul essence of machine learning, right? And now with this kind of explanation, believe me, Mr. Rahul is also very much impressed. And now, because he was research oriented, Anjali has explained machine learning through whatever mathematics she knows in very simple terms. And now Mr. Rahul is happy. And he's so much happy that he is now ready to define what exactly machine learning is. So machine learning is actually, he is saying, right, the study or the field of study which gives machine the ability to think, right, without being programmed, without being explicitly programmed. Because see, we have just given machine the data in which 0 to 3 years of experience salary was there, right? But we have never given this machine the salary for 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. It calculated on its own. The formula it calculated on its own, right? It means that we never programmed the machine for these things. And now it is actually behaving that we have programmed machine for it, right? And if we are not explicitly programmed the machine, but it is still answering, and the answer is as close as human being, it means that machines are thinking, machines are learning. As simple as that. I'm again repeating, machine learning is the study or the field of study that gives machine the ability to think without being programmed, without being explicitly programmed for that task. Right? I think it makes sense. Right? So now let's talk about what we have as a next board. So we are going to study now the types of machine learning, because now we understand machine learning. Let's talk about in detail. So now we have a question from Sangeeta ji. Sangeeta ji, please ask your question. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you.
Hmm.
Can you please move back to previous slide?
Hmm. Absolutely. This one? Oh, this one.
Yeah, thank
Oh,
you.
this one.
Yes,
Okay.
this one only.
Hmm.
So, you told, for machine learning as well, if we need to feed data, okay, so we will have to write program, we will have to write program, and then it will. So, what is the exactly difference for machine learning? Also, we are using one model, algorithm. We are using like straight line regression algorithm.
Hmm.
So, for here also we are using then one model. Then we are going to train that particular model with values, input and output values. And similarly, earlier also we were writing Python program in which we were writing logic. Okay, if we are giving input, so we are just writing one logic, we can say like ymx plus c, like we can take variable and constant. So that was also calculating data. Now how machine learning, even in this also we are feeding data by one Python programming. So how machine is helping here? Like we could do that by program as well.
Okay. So I think there is a little difference which we are not able to still figure it out. But let me explain one
Mhm.
more time. Right? See, when we do normal programming, when we do normal
Yeah,
programming, we give data to the machine. Suppose we have given these 7 rows to the machine. Okay.
right.
And then if we do not give this machine that formula, right? We can also say this machine that here is your formula, right? That salary is equal to twice into number of years plus 4. This is from where we begin,
Right.
Sangeeta ji, right? Then machine is going to be happy that yes, I can calculate for any number of years of experience guy what is the salary, right? You agree with me?
Right.
But
Mhm.
now if you write the program, suppose we do, and who calculated this formula? We calculated and give this formula to the machine, right?
Yeah,
To
while
begin with.
doing programming,
So
yes.
in the programming itself, we are going to say salary is equal to this, calculate, right? Even now, if we give this formula, we do not need to give any data to the machine, believe me, because we have the salary, we have this formula, and we can you can put any number of years,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
No doubt about it. But now, what I'm saying here is that the whole soul work was done by Rahul or somebody who has come with this logic itself. You agree with me?
Mhm. Right.
Right. Now, what is going to happen here is that in case of this, we are just going to feed machine some data, not for all the values, right? And we say,
Mhm.
machine, calculate this formula to me. Okay. See,
Right.
the main thing was this formula, which was calculated by Rahul. Now we are saying,
Okay.
machine, you have some data, right? You calculate this
Right.
formula for me. Salary is equal to y, uh, sorry, salary is equal to w into number of years of experience plus b, right? So we understood that to calculate this formula, we need to calculate this w and b, right? This is what Rahul has done.
Right.
Now, this is very important to calculate this w and b on your own, right? Because
Right.
Rahul, human
Mhm.
can do that. And now we are just saying that machine right now, because machine can't see that the relationship is linear. So we need to feed this machine that the data relationship, whatever we are feeding you, right? It is actually in a linear fashion. Means if something is increasing, other thing is also increasing, or something is increasing, the other thing is decreasing, right? Then
Right.
machine
Right.
will come to know that okay, it needs to calculate something like salary is equal to w into number of years plus b, We do not need to give this, right? Now machine has to calculate this W and B, and how this is the this is kind of something which our mathematician has developed. See, we do not need to do it for every program. We will say machine, you have to deal with, you have to calculate this formula for me. See, we are just saying salary is equal to W into years plus B. We are not saying what is W and what is B, right? Even Rahul, as a human, was sure that salary and years has some relationship. So he calculated this W and
Mhm.
B, right? But now we are
Right.
asking machine to calculate. But how machine is going to calculate? Then that is where all the tilt and move up and down come into picture. But who is guiding?
Correct.
It is guiding by an algorithm, not by human. I'm again saying,
Mhm.
right? In the previous programming, you were not doing this, right? If you don't give this formula itself, machine will going to say, I do not know what is the salary for the person who is
But
having 20
here
years of
as well,
experience.
we are taking help of algorithm for recognizing or for calculation of data. If
For
similarly,
but
Mhm.
but but this algorithm is going to be same, and this is the interesting point. If you change this
And
problem also,
programming will be also be same because we are writing one code over there.
but okay, tell me what algorithm you would have right in this case.
I'm just using model that is previously created, and similarly way it can be like I'm just using previous program only, like I didn't create that, so anybody created and I'm just using that particular program.
Huh. So, okay, okay, I think we are still having some doubt. So, guys, be patient, right? So, thank you so much for asking
Okay.
this again and again, Sangeeta ji, because this is how this class is going to improve, right? Through algorithm, we are going to calculate this W and B. You agree with me, right? Right?
Right, right.
But this algorithm will be working on this data itself. Don't you see that? Don't you think that finding this W and B is an problem which humans were doing previously, right? See, at the end of the day, everything is going to be programmed, right? Once we have this
Mhm.
program, once we have calculated this W and B, then we can predict, and we are not 100% going to be predict. We are going to say from my experience, machine will say that 97% I am correct, that for 20 years experience guy is equal to, it is going to be salaries or something like this. So if we give the same problem to Rahul, maybe if we give say 1000 point to Rahul, can Mr. Rahul be able to predict what is the line which is going exactly at the minimum cost from this point? No, Rahul can't, right? Because it is where we will reach to our limits. And when we reach to our limits, that is where basically machine learning come into picture, right? And calculate this W and B for us. Okay. Previously in our programming, we never ever use these kind of algorithm which help machine to learn this formula. See, to come up with the formula, we have an algorithm. Okay, just leave this algorithm part. Do you agree with me that
Mhm.
if we machine comes on its own, this W and B, it is kind of a learning which is they are doing. Do you agree with me?
Right. Yeah.
Right. So by
Agree.
the
Yeah.
way, in previous kind of thing, previous kind of programming, we were just giving this formula to calculate the salary from number of years. But here,
Mm.
the machines are calculating this formula on their own with the help of some algorithm,
Mhm.
right?
Okay.
And maybe we can
Mm.
discuss it also after the class also. Don't worry. Anybody
Yeah.
else?
Understood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody else has
Yeah.
some doubt regarding this because we are discussing it. So maybe some question comes out which can more clarify it. Anyone? But yes, Sangeeta ji, I do agree with you. At the end of the day, in programming, right? See, it is just an illusion that we are saying that we haven't programmed this machine to tackle with the problem from 4 to 20 years of data, right? This was done by machine on its
Mm.
own. What we have to say, machine, this is a problem which is a problem of linear regression, right? And we are giving you
Mhm.
data. It is the whole sole job of machine itself to calculate this formula. That is it. You do not need to tell even the
Mhm.
algorithm because it is going to calculate using that algorithm on its own. And I'll prove it in the upcoming classes. Okay, but thank you so much for the question.
Okay.
Anybody else? Any doubt here? And very interesting, everybody else has no doubt. Guys, any slightest of doubt is going to make everybody understand. If you have doubt, please raise your hand. Otherwise, we can move to the next board. Okay. But thank you so much once again, Sangeeta ji. So what we are doing here is we are trying to understand types of machine learning, right? And mostly we will be discussing in this class that if we have a machine learning, it is having different types. One is supervised. It means that we are feeding the machine the data, right? Or inputs, and then labels. Machine take the input, match its prediction with the label, adjust, and then tell us the exact, or basically with some surety, how much is the output or prediction, right? This is supervised because we are feeding machine the data and then this label. What is the meaning of unsupervised, right? We will feed machine inputs. And by the way, in upcoming classes, you are going to see that your salary, see, I am showcasing you the problem, which is very simple, right? And that is why I am getting a lots of great questions, because if I start from complex, it would be difficult to ask question. If I say salary is equal to number of years of experience, right, into W, believe me, in upcoming examples, we are going to see that it is not going to be always dependent on number of years of experience. It will also dependent on certifications, your age, your extra skills, whatever you have. In that case, then basically everyone is going to have corresponding W with it. We will be talking about it. So whatever we are giving here, the number of years of experience, certification, age, right? With age, maybe salary can increase or decrease dependent on the company. Then your skills also. These are all going to be the input. We just need to give machines this input in unsupervised learning. Machine is going to find the pattern on its own. We are not going to learn this in this course, maybe in some other course, but don't think that Vishnu is not teaching this because it is super difficult. It is not the case. Believe me, if you understand supervised, unsupervised is also easy. Then we will be talking about reinforcement, which we will be not be covering. So the whole sole idea of reinforcement is that you give machine data. On the basis of the data, machine is going to predict. If it is predicting the current salary based on number of years, you are going to give maybe some reward to this, right? And if it is not the case, means if this machine is not predicting the correct value or not closer to the correct value, you are going to give the penalty. And this is how most of the training happens. This is the culture in our corporate world also, right? If you are performing well, your company is going to reward you. Otherwise, maybe they can punish you. If you are not performing well, maybe you are in performance improvement plan, right? You all agree with me. So this is kind of another type of learning, which is reinforcement, which we are not going to talk. So our main focus will be regression and classification, which is part of supervised machine learning. What is the meaning of regression? The meaning of regression is simple, that you need to predict, or machine needs to predict a continuous value, right? And now the question is, what is the meaning of continuous? The meaning of continuous is, see, if you can predict the salary, it can be from 4 lakhs to maybe 50 lakhs, 1 crore. And what is the numbers which came in between? There are many, many numbers, right? Maybe there are infinite numbers between 4 and 50 lakhs also, because 4 is the number, then 4.001, 4.001, you can think, right? So machine has to predict this number across many numbers. And that is why we are calling it as a regression, because machine has to predict a continuous value, right? Whatever we just learned till now, this is part of your regression, right? And if something is increasing or decreasing linearly, we are calling it as a linear regression. In regression, we are predicting a value which is continuous. What about classification? The meaning of classification is just we need to tell from a certain report, maybe we have a patient here, right? And we have patient age, maybe it's blood group report, maybe it's MRI scan, right? Or so many things, so many data. And on the basis of this data, you can tell whether this patient is going to have, maybe in upcoming 2 years, 3 years, is going to have some heart disease or not. You can say, yes, after 12 years, this guy will be having heart disease, or no, after 12 years, this guy is not having heart. Means yes or no. You are just classifying whatever the information you are getting, you are giving the classified or classification that yes, this guy will have heart disease, or no, that is it. This is your classification problem. But most of the time, even in the Hindi class, people didn't get it from this until and unless they saw this example, right? Cricket is very popular in India. So what we have here, I just want to let you know, I want to just explain. We have machine learning, and in machine learning, we have regression and we have classification. So if we talk about regression, see, we have, say, Mr. Sachin Tendulkar here, great batsman, right? And we have his data. For example, what form he has from last 100 matches or maybe last 15 matches, what he scored in the last match, right? How fit he is, and then so many things. This is what we have. This is input. And on the basis of this input, we want to predict, or the machine wants to predict how much the score he is going to do, how much run he's going to score in the next match, right? And the machine can say, based on this data, Mr. Sachin Tendulkar is going to score 100 or maybe 102. But try to understand the possibilities of number of runs. Maybe he can out in 0, 1, 2, 3, 102. Maybe he can go till 200, right? Machine has to predict from 0 to 200. It's a continuous data. That is why we are saying regression, right? If we talk about here classification, we have two teams here, right? We have, say, India, the man in blue, and we have, say, Pakistan here. And we have enough data on India and Pakistan team, right? What players are playing, the form, and so many things. And we give this much data to the machine, and we are just asking, based on the feature on input, how many percentage chance that India is going to win? And maybe machine can say 96% chance. Or maybe it can say India will win the match, win or lose. If we are just classifying, the meaning is we are forming a machine learning, which we are talking about machine learning, which is classification based. Otherwise, regression. Till now, we have just discussed regression, right? Having said that, let's talk about the next board where we will come back to the data. And I think this is going to be the game changer for you, because in upcoming classes, I think at 5th or 6th class, we are not going to talk only how much is going to be the salary on the basis of number of years, because salary is not dependent only on number of years. We will be having certification, maybe age, maybe something more, and then the equation or the formula is going to be like this. Maybe the formula can be more complex, maybe W1 into number of years plus W2 into number of certification plus W3 is going to be what? Maybe your age, maybe W4 is for your extra skills plus your base salary. As simple as that. And this is going to be your salary, and machine is going to do the heavy duty now. W1, W2, W, and believe me, it is not, means if we give this problem to human, we are going to take a lot of time to calculate this exact value of W. And by the way, we also mentioned this is the weight, and machine what is doing, they are just adjusting the weight according to the data so that we have some good, or the weight which can fit that line. And by the way, now we are increasing the complexity here. For example, previously you have seen that we have salary on one axis and we have number of years on another axis. Now we are adding certification also, guys. It means that we are talking about 3 dimension, right? And that is what I am showcasing you here. Because it is easy for humans to think till 3 dimensions, but if we go more beyond that, if we go beyond that, believe me, human even can't think that what it could be like in the graph or maybe anywhere. They cannot visualize it. But believe me, Anjali is saying, doesn't matter how many dimensions you have, the mathematics or that algorithm which will guide machine to calculate W1, W2, it is just going to say you need to go a little bit up or down. That is it. The algorithm is not going to guide more, right? And here what we have in terms of feature, what we'll be having, we have number of years of experience and certifications, how much certification some guy has done. For example, 1 year of experience guy had done 0 certification. 4 years of experience guy has done 5 certification. It might be the possible that 5 years of experience guy hasn't done any certification. And that is why you can see for 4 year experience who has done 5 certification, the salary is more, but for 5 experience who has done only 0 certification, the salary is a little bit less, right? Or way less. We can represent this data in another form which we are talking about. 1 is the number of years, 0 is the certification. What is this? This is the label. I think you understand. These are my features, years and certification, and salary is my label. What I'm going to give to the machine, I will be giving years and certification to the machine along with the salary, but salary is not going to be input. Machine will be calculating W and B on their own to come up with a formula which can fit into this formula, right? W and W2, so that we can tell that if somebody is having 7 years of experience with 3 certification, how much the salary is going to be. And this is going to be the machine prediction, right? I would say watch this class again and again. Otherwise, if you do not get the gist of it, right? And Sangeeta ji, don't worry. We will be here, means I will be here even after the class, and whoever want to be in this class, we can discuss it again until and unless you get your problem resolved in your mind. Okay. So Vipul Singh has a question. Please, Mr. Vipul, ask your question. Go ahead.
So, sir, we are feeding feature to machine. We are not feeding label to machine.
No, label is just like the teacher, right? We are going to say machine, tell me the salary of, first of all, in training phase, right? Suppose this machine is absolutely new. What we are going to give? We are going to give its years and certification and ask the machine to calculate the salary. Suppose we give machine the number of years as 1, we give certification as 0, and machine hasn't calculated this 4. Machine calculated suppose 7, right? So this salary is not going to be input. This is the salary through which machine can adjust itself. That 7 is wrong. No, I need to move a little bit less. So that when you at the
That
later
will
stage,
be
this is going to be a training phase. The meaning of training is you are just giving this data, means features and label, and basically machine is coming up with W and B. Finally, when this training phase is done, now you can give any combination, number of years of experience 8, certification 5, what would be the salary? And machine will say, I'm 96% sure that the salary is. How we can calculate, we will be talking about it. Yes, Mr. Vipul, I think your question is not complete. Go ahead.
no, I just had doubt that I thought that this salary label is the part of algo. Like, uh, I mean, how uh, if 1 year it's a salary, if it's giving suppose 7 and it's not matching, then how we are again giving that? No, it's not matching. Again, you have to tell.
Yeah,
So
so
that should be part of algo or how?
yeah, I am not saying that we are not giving salary. We are saying we are not giving salary as an input. We are giving salary
Okay,
so that machine can come to know that it is predicting right or wrong. It is just like the teacher who knows 2 into
okay,
6 is equal to 12, right? And that is why we are saying it is a label, right? Because for 1 year and 0, the label is 4. Means for 1 and 0, basically the salary is going to be 4. This is the true value which we have. And we need to train the machine on this data so that it can calculate this W and
Mhm.
B, right?
So means
Hmm.
yeah, got it, sir. So means we have must have input and output data both like feature and label.
Yes, but label, do not confuse label with the input, because this is something which is guiding the machine, right?
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
And
thank you.
whatever we do not have in this data and we ask machine, this is your machine prediction. Machine is not going to say I am 100% sure on this, because nobody can be 100% sure. Because if I give you those 100 points, right, and if I ask you to calculate what is the salary of a 20-year-old experienced guy, right? Sorry, 20 years experienced guy, then I think you should be good. You won't be able to predict it unless you take the help of the machine, or maybe you are able to draw this line. It is going to be very much time consuming process, believe me. uh, Pratyadeep Sahuji, you can ask your question.
Yeah, my question was like for the output label, we are calculating, we are comparing the machine data with the label. Okay, so the lower the cost, then it will be uh, that is good, right?
Yes, yes,
The
you are
lower
right.
the cost.
Yes,
So how, so what is the minimum cost it is going to compare? Like it should be zero
it
until it will
try
calculate until it will zero.
it tried to, once it meets. So, and for the linear regression in one variable, basically where we have W, it is always going to be some point we will be getting 0. But for most of the other things, it is not always the case, it is going to be 0. For example, with this data, if
Mhm.
suppose we have this data, what is the meaning of zero cost? That we have drawn the straight line which is passing through all this point. Is it possible,
Yeah.
Mr. Pratyadeep? No, we can't
No.
draw a line which is passing, we can't draw a straight line which is passing through all this point, but we can draw a line which is passing through these dots, right, at a minimum
Okay.
cost which we calculated, right?
Okay. So
Right.
that minimum cost will be the common value with the all the nearest points.
Yes,
Then it will
most of
make
the
a
time
line.
every machine with the which is going to use the same algorithm, it will give you the same W and B. That this is the line, and this is the beauty of machine learning. They are going to give
And
you the. Mhm.
yeah, and uh, it has to take all the datas inside the table to calculate the cost, or only the 2 to 4 datas, or like
See,
that.
that is what I'm
Mhm.
saying. That if you want to create your dish, right, you should be having good ingredients, right? And some people
Okay.
say that the more ingredients you have, you are going to get the more flavor. And same thing here. For the machine learning, ingredient is data. The good your
Okay.
data is, it is going to give you the good model. Model means a formula, right? You just need to say, you need to predict the linear relationship, and it is going to give the formula for you, right? So data
Okay.
in this case, the more mature, the more data you have, it is going to predict more accurately. That is why machines are hungry. You can say machines are hungry for data, right? The more you feed, the correct or the more accurate your model is going to be. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
Thanks.
Mr. Sayed, Sangeeta ji, I will come to your question. Let me finish the last board of today's session, and I just need 10 more minutes of your complete attention, because that is going to be mind-blowing board, right? So you all know whatever we are learning here, we will be implementing it into, we will be implementing it using a language, right? Or maybe through coding. So now let's talk about a little bit of coding, right? But before that, I'm so sorry. Before that, if you want to plot this and how, basically I'm coming to the coding because I have generated all these graphs using the code, and it is very easy, believe me, right? So now you can see that we are increasing the dimension. We have certifications here, we have years of experience here, and we have here the salary, right? And if you consider this point, 509. I'm talking about somebody who is having, right? 5 means number of years of experience, 0 means there is no certification, 9 means the salary. And if you see here 509, it is very, very difficult sometimes to visualize in 3D also, right? For example, 5 years, if I talk about, it is right here. 0 certification is right here, right? So this is the point. But if you consider the height, which is 9, you need to move this point a little bit here. So consider this as your room, right? And you have somewhere a pen, this kind of pen in this your room. How you are going to define the location of this pen? You need to move into your floor, both the floor, which is right here, and then you need to calculate the height. Please try to visualize it. But if you can't, believe me, anyway, if I include one more feature here, for example, age, I cannot draw something in 4 dimension. Believe me, because human mind is not capable of understanding 4 dimensions. But Anjali is saying that it is good if you can think in 3 dimension, that is fine. But for most of the machine learning problems, we will be seeing inputs which are maybe sometimes 100, sometimes 20, maybe sometimes 1,000 also, right? We need to reduce the input, but still you will be getting input sometime in the range of maybe 20 to 100. And if that is the case, see the number of dimensions. You cannot think, but Anjali is saying my mathematics, my algorithm is going to remain same because it is human who can't visualize, but at the end of the day, mathematics is going to be same for any dimension because at the end of the day, we need to calculate these W's or the weights so that we can get the exact formula. Having said that, last board of today's session, right? And here we are going to discuss about, okay, so sorry for this. Yeah, we will be talking a little bit about the programming language, or maybe especially the coding introduction I'm talking about here. And it is going to be one of the most interesting board of today's class. Just 10 more minutes of your attention. As I asked, 1 hour and 10 minutes, right? 1 hour is gone now, 10 minutes are remaining. And now we are talking about what? We are talking about a computer, right? And this computer, or you can understand any computer using just two things, right? And this is your inside a laptop or a computer, we have CPU and we have memory. If you want to use this CPU, right, which is a piece of metal, or if you want to give some work to the CPU, you need to give some instructions to the CPU. Believe me, I will relate it. It is going to be very important because we all are new in programming here, or maybe some guys knows programming better, but this class is for everyone who is starting from scratch. So I just want to explain what exactly happens to a program so that you have a big picture. How we used to program in 1960s, how we used to program in 2010, and how we are programming today. So if we talk about a laptop, it consists of a CPU and memory. And what we do, if you want to take some advantage of the CPU, right, to use it, we need to feed instructions. And where do we write those instructions? We write those instructions into the memory. Who or how do we write? It's a separate question. Suppose we have written all these ones and zeros in this machine, right? And believe me, we can feed all these ones and zeros in the memory. Just like in a community of houses, right? We have separate houses. We can address them. We can say this house number is 0, 1, 2, 3, right? But generally we do not start from 0. But let's suppose we can address these houses like this. Similarly, we have addressed the memory that this instruction or these number of ones and zeros are here. This is the 0th location. This is the first location. This is second location, and we call this as address, right? So through some way, we have made a relationship between CPU and memory, that what CPU is going to do, CPU will be carrying the first instruction from the memory, but where it is going to have something to store these values or instruction from the memory. Suppose this, and by the way, CPU doesn't have much storage, much memory. So he's just taking few commands. So first command he has taken 1011000101. And now the instruction, now the interesting thing is what CPU is going to do with this instruction. And it is written by somebody who has created the CPU. And you all know Intel is a company which makes CPU. AMD is a company which makes CPU. NVIDIA is a company nowadays. You all know about NVIDIA, right? And these guys explain the CPU that what you need to do, and that is where every CPU has instructions manual. That as soon as this computer or CPU gets this pattern, they need to do some specific task. For example, suppose this is created by Intel, right? And Intel has this instruction set. What is the meaning? The meaning is, right? The meaning is Intel said whenever you get this pattern, the meaning is get value from location 5. Very, very interesting. And where is the location 5 is right here. It means that CPU is going to fetch this location, whatever is written into this location. What is written? 20. And then this job is done. This instruction computer or CPU has followed. It is going to take the next instruction now. This is gone. Then this instruction is going to written inside the CPU. And then again, CPU is going to check what is in the manual. And they're going to say get value from location 6. What is at location 6? 30. And then this is also done. Computer is going to take the value written as 2, and it is going to say the meaning is add 2 values means, and of course the CPU can add. At the end of the day, whatever application you are seeing in your world, if you are seeing a video, if you are seeing an image or anything, addition, subtraction at the deeper level, computer is just changing these bits. That is it, nothing. It means that every problem of this world which computer has solved can be represented with ones and zeros. Believe me, this is the whole soul of computer science, whole soul essence of computer science, right? So the last thing is this, they are going to add 20 and 30, the remaining the thing is going to be 50, and the last instruction will be there, and the CPU is going to read, okay, the meaning is store the result in 7th location, means they are going to store the location in 7th location. See, I just give this 4 statement into the memory and it has done the magic. It has added 2 different numbers and stored the sum or the result in the 7th location. And we can print this. This is how exactly things work inside the computer. But now you must be thinking, Mr. Vishnu, we know all these things. Why you are teaching us this thing? Because these are important in just creating the big picture of how your programs are going to work. Believe me. Now the problem is because we understand the working of CPU, it comes with the manual. We understand we just need to put something in the memory and CPU is going to fetch those instructions and start doing its work. Now the problem was that how we are going to feed something into this memory. Believe me, this was the problem in 1960s when Bill Gates started programming. He was dealing with this problem that how I am going to feed this memory. Because I know that if I want to make sure that CPU add 2 numbers, I need to give these 4 instructions. And that is where he just took the paper, right? And punched that paper. The meaning of punch is wherever he is punched means the white things you are seeing. He's saying this is my zeros. And wherever he hasn't punched, this is 1. So you can think that this line is representing some pattern of zeros and 1. And then somebody has created this hardware in which you can feed this paper, right? And then this hardware write whatever. So by the way, suppose these are 10 lines. It means that you have given 10 instruction in this form of the paper to the hardware, and hardware has the capacity to write in the memory. Guys, this is how Bill Gates started doing programming, right? So suppose we, in today's world, or in that time, we write 10,000 lines of instructions which can be given to this machine. And if we used to do the same kind of programming in 1960s, Bill Gates has to have, means suppose in a paper he can write just 10 instruction, he can punch just 10 instruction. It means that he would have needed almost 1,000 such papers for just one program. In a specific order, he has to give this hardware, then it is going to load into the memory, then CPU will start working. Try to think about it, how difficult the programming is. If I tell you, now you need to use this thing to program your machine learning, you are going to say, no, tata bye bye, we are not interested. And that is where we have other people which say, no, this is too much difficult process. We have to do something more. And that is where your C, C++, which we call the high level languages, which are more closer to human beings, right? And I started my journey with C, C++, and it was nowhere closer to me. It was very difficult for me. But believe me, if I had known at that point of time that the Bill Gates started doing programming using these paper or punch cards, I would have thought that yes, C, C++ is way simpler. Then we have Java, then we have now Python. Python is more closer because we understand. So this is something, a program written into programming, which is exactly the same. Number one is 20, number two is 30, then sum is equal to this. And I'm printing. The meaning is I am just sending the sum on the computer screen. This is my program written in Python. But here is the question now. See, this is more closer to human. We can understand what is, on broader basis, we can understand this program is adding to numbers. But at the end of the day, we have to feed, right? We have to feed this into the memory. How it is going to happen? And human was so clever that they have written a complete program for that, which is known as interpreter. I think you must have heard about that. Python is an interpreted language. The meaning is we are giving these instructions written in simple or maybe a language which is more common to human beings, right? We give this to interpreter, and eventually this interpreter is going to convert these into these instructions and write them into the memory if you execute them, right? Simple. We have developed this interpreter which take Python program as input, right? Which gives this, which is going to write the instructions in the memory, and then you all know how CPU and memory is going to work. But now human says, no, even this portion is a little bit difficult for me. I would not like to understand or remember what is the syntax. Syntax means how on earth you will come to know that if I want to print, I need to write print. There are some, and that is why people learn Python. Maybe they spend 10 days, 15 days to understand the syntax, and then they start with the baby steps. They start with the baby step and then write simple program, then complex program, then some logic and so on. But humans say, no, it is having a learning curve in which I'm not interested. I need something more simpler, right? This is how we used to do programming until we see a lots of chatbots, ChatGPT, Grok, Gemini. Believe me, we are going to use them and use them heavily. And I presume if you do not know anything, but we know simple English for sure. And if you do not know simple English also, that is fine because you can give now machine or this chatbot in your own language a command and they are going to follow. So I can just say, and this is what the approach we are going to use. I'm just going to say machine or chat GPT, please write a program to add two numbers. What it is going to do, it is going to generate this program, this one. Even now you do not need to write this, right? It is going to generate this program from your statement, one single statement. And of course, after this, you know the process. This program will be going into the interpreter. Will converted them into the instructions, and instructions were read by CPU according to the manual, and it is going to do the task. store the result in 50 and you are going to print it. As simple as that. Sorry, store the result 50 into location 7. I think you get my point. Interesting, right? And moreover, once you write this program, you can ask this simple chatbot again, I do not get the program. Please explain me line by line. It is going to explain that program to line by line. So by the way, I think you understand from where we started. We started with the punch card and where we have reached. We have reached at this. Maybe, I'm not sure what is going to happen next. Maybe you think the something in your mind and machine is going to execute it. Not sure when this is going to happen, but I think many people are happy here that they do not need to learn or they do not need to go very much deeper into the programming language. But I would say write the program with the help of the chatbot. Ask the chatbot to explain the problem to you or the program to you. And by the way, this is what we are going to learn in tomorrow's class. We will be using a tool known as Google Colab. Okay, very interesting tool, right? And with the tool, I will help you. I will just write all these things to generate the program. I will be plotting whatever the data I was showcasing you with the help of that tool only, right? So it is my humble request to all of you that if you have a Gmail account or maybe any email, right? Just go to the Google Colab, just write Google Colab and just create a login there so that whatever I showcase you tomorrow, you can follow at the same time. Having said that, this is what I had in my mind, right? Tomorrow we will be using or we will be beginning with a little program, right? To add two numbers and then we will be plotting our data using something which is known as library. Okay. Having said that, this is what I had in my mind. And now I am all open for your questions, right? And here we have Sangeeta ji. Please do ask your question. Go ahead.
Yeah, so from this slide, as you told us, explain this program. So we will use this program for feeding data, like in machine learning. That's why we are learning here Python,
Yes,
right?
you are right. You are right. So we will
So
increase the
here,
complexity day by day. See, I can teach you right now that whatever we are going to read in these 10 or 12 lectures, believe me,
yeah,
people are so good in the world. They have written all the code necessary for it. And for us, it is
yeah.
going to be only 5 line of code or maybe 6 line of code. But we need to understand what is happening behind the scene. Yes, complete your question now.
So here, like as we are giving two input values like num1 and num2. So in machine learning also, like as we will have to provide their model and how machine will elect that particular model corresponding if let us suppose there is like requirement of image recognition. So that will select like neural model algorithm. So how on which basis who will tell to machine like which model they will have to select corresponding to query. So
You.
here this sum is like a model and these are input values?
No, 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 no. See,
No, okay.
basically, this is just a simple program. There is no concept of model here, right? Whatever the formula to add them, we are providing this to machine. See, now
So
your
what
question,
will be the use? Yeah.
yeah, what will be the use of this?
Yes.
Okay, I think you are asking the same question, but in different way. But this is what I like about the question. See, at the end of the day, you agree, Sangeeta ji, that whatever, suppose we take an example of this thing, right? Years and salary, right?
Yeah.
We have to feed this data at least to the machine. You take years, right? And now, see, we
Yes.
have just learned the program of addition,
Hmm.
right? Journey is really long because we need to use little bit loops also in programming. We need to understand the
Right.
concept of variables and so many things. But if
Mhm.
I explain that, then it is going to, we are going to lose what we want to learn main, right? So we are not going to go deeper into this, we will try to use chatbot to create our program, and whatever we don't understand, we will ask the chatbot itself, right? This is going to be the
Correct.
approach. Maybe in 12th class, maybe we can learn maybe 5% of Python. It is going to be great because this is the byproduct of machine learning. So now what we are going to do is we will take this years, but the problem is how I am going to feed this to the machine, right? That is why I will be writing these years into some form so that in the Python, so that it can go into my machine, right? Similarly,
Okay.
I will be writing my salary here, right? So that it can go, although the machine is not going to use as an input, but it is going to check. Machine is going to check that these are my labels. I need to check with them that I am predicting the right salary or not. Now, the next question which comes to your mind, who is going to tell you that this machine needs to use what type of machine learning? Because leave about deep learning also. In machine learning, we have three different things, right? If we want
Right.
to predict whether the team is going to win or lose, whether the result of the patient data result into the cancer or maybe heart attack or not, right? This kind was classification. We have different model for it. This is my classification model. If we have to predict a continuous number, then we need to find a linear model, right?
Right.
Similarly, if the problem is not solvable by these, for example, we have a statement, I love watching, right? What should be the next word? Believe me, through machine learning, it is not possible because the data is too much, and that is why we are going to use deep learning here. But if we are comfortable with machine learning, then we can think about learning deep learning, right? So overall, it
Right.
is you or me, right? Machine doesn't have magic on their own. Humans have created all these intelligence in them. वो
Right.
बात अलग है कि basically now machines are getting super intelligent than us because of their extra power. They can have unlimited memory, they can have unlimited CPU, right? And that is where they are going. So humans, when they see data, first thing first, we have to see the data. And if we feel that the problem type is that we need to predict a continuous value from this data, we are sure, and we will be saying, machine, you need to work on linear machine learning type, right? With that, machine will be understanding, okay, the relationship between salary and year is something which is linear. I need to predict the value of W's and maybe B, right? Because there is only one. If I say that now the problem is classification problem, the machine is going to say, okay, I will choose from the classification, right? This you need to tell. And similarly, if a problem like this, predicting the next word, which is not solvable by machine learning. By the way, if we are talking about deep learning, it is inside machine learning itself, right? Deep learning is something which is part of machine learning, right? So if whatever we are solving through deep learning, actually it is machine learning, but at a deeper level. Okay. So at the end of the day, who is going to figure out that which thing we need to use? Deep learning, neural network, which is, or machine learning linear, or maybe classification, or maybe reinforcement, that we need to decide. And that is why data scientists, machine learning engineers, company hire. Otherwise, Sangeeta ji, if that is not the case, we have the machine, we just need to tell the machine, here is the
Yeah.
problem and solve it. No, still,
The,
but once, for example, for a company, right? For a company, business is to predict the price of the house. This is the business. And for them,
mm,
they have so many features, that what is the size of the house, maybe how many floors in the house, how much age this house is having, right? And then how many rooms are there, at which locality is there. Don't you think that we can have such 50 or hundreds of parameters? And now this company comes to you. Let's see, we have we decide the price of the house based on all these 100 parameters. But it is very, very difficult to me to adjust them. Can you write a simple machine learning model? If this guy or this company comes to you, what you're going to say, okay, definitely I can help you. Because at the end of the day, this is kind of a predicting a continuous value. You are going to say that all these things means price is actually will fall into the regression model. You are going to say size into W1 plus number of floors into W2. You are going to say this kind and then so on. Your whole sole aim is to calculate this W1, W2, and whatever the number of, so that you can come across the exact or price which is more suitable to the data, because this company is going to give this data to you for this size, for this, but they want to predict the data which is not in the table. You get the idea, Sangeeta ji?
Yes, yes. Yeah.
Perfect. Anybody else?
Thank you so much.
No worries. Guys, come on. If you have any doubt, any question, please do ask. Or this class was too difficult for you. I think Mr. Prantik has a question. Thank you so much, Prantik ji. Please go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah. Hi, Vishnuji.
Yes, sir.
Python language will fetch those data into the memory, right? That yards and cells.
Eventually, if your program is running off a computer, the program is in
Okay.
the memory and CPU is fetching those instructions to execute it. Okay?
Okay. So,
Perfect.
so Python or Java, this type of language is the my main component to fetch the data in my memory, right? And it will predict.
No, Python is not, see, Python is just the way to feed these instructions into the computer. But what those instructions are, what is that logic? For example, if you feed those 4 instructions, what computer CPU is going to do? It is going to add 2 numbers, right?
Okay.
So in Python, through, see, for example, me and you are talking because English is the common language between us. You are talking in English, I am getting it. If I start talking in French, or maybe some language which is say 5,000 year old, which you do not understand, it is not going to make sense to you. Python is the language through which we can communicate with the computer. How we can communicate with the computer? If through any means I can just go and write into the memory of the computer, I can ask CPU to fetch all these instructions. So Python is the way, Java is the way, or any programming language is the way through which you can interact with the machine. If you want to add 2 numbers, you just need to write a program in Python, and Python program will be going into the memory using the interpreter which we discussed. Okay, Mr. Prantik?
Yeah. Audio part. Yeah. Thank you.
Perfect. Mr. Syed, I think you raised your hand previously also. I'm so sorry, but please do ask your question. Mr. Syed.
Yeah, no problem, Vishnu. So, like you mentioned, like there is a program to enter the data. So, what is telling the computer to calculate the W and B value? Like, is there a program for the linear regression algorithm that is fed into it?
Don't
Like,
worry.
how is it actually?
At the end of 6th class, sir, you will get it. We are just taking the baby steps.
Okay.
Okay. And I am specifically saying at the end of 6th class, the reason is, see, we divided the problem into 4 parts, right? What we did is that if we have machine learning, and if I break it, it gives me 4 things. It gives me data, right? The second thing, it gives me the model or maybe the formula. We just talked about data, right? We will talking about this model. Tomorrow is mostly going into the Python because it is going to be the implementation phase. So model, we will be talking in maybe the 4th class. In 5th class, anybody remember, we have data, model, and training. The third phase is going to be training. Exactly at this point, we will send some data to the machine so that it get trained. Finally, implementation using Python, right? So believe me, we just learned about data in a little bit detail. What type of data you are going to get, right? And how you can draw that data. Basically, we will be talking about tomorrow. Then we will be talking about this model. Right now, you understand only one thing, which is y is equal to wx plus c, where w can be salary, price of the house, x can be your number of years of experience or square feet of the size, right? We will be talking little bit detail about this model and without using mathematics, we will be talking some deeper concepts of maths, believe me, but without including some terms. So once we are done with data, once we are done with the model and how to train the machine, right? This is where this algorithm will come into picture. That how come machine will know? For example, human will see this point, they can draw the line along with that, but machine can start from anywhere. How machine will know that it needs to tilt here? It needs to go a little bit up so that it can reach to the best solution. We will be talking about it. So we have just taken first step towards data. Once we are done with the model and training, I think you will get your answer. But again and again, watch these two videos so that you can understand the essence of machine learning, right? Anybody, any doubt, any question? Thank you so much, Sahuji, for your thumbs up. Anybody else who would like to give the thumbs up?
Uh,
Thank
Vishnu
you
sir,
so much.
just
Yeah,
one question.
yeah, Mr.
Can we tell
Prakash.
like interpreter is just like acting as a translator between the human readable language and the machine
Areva,
to convert the
you have simplified it, sir. Thank you so much. This is what it is doing. Interpreter, for
yeah,
example, in our normal thing also we have interpreter, right? Suppose somebody wants to speak in French. I am speaking
yeah.
in Hindi. I do not know French.
Mm,
I need somebody who is an interpreter who understands both, right?
okay,
So it is the job of interpreter to understand what machine is saying and return the result back to us also. Not only that what we are
okay,
saying to machine, it understands machine as well as humans.
yeah.
Okay, and previously who was doing the job in case of when Bill Gates was writing the programs? It
Paper
was
punch.
paper punch, where the form of giving data to the machine, just like a program.
Yeah,
But the
in the
hardware,
hardware.
yeah,
Yeah,
you got it.
yeah.
Absolutely, very nice question, and thank you so much for your lovely questions also. Anybody else? Any doubt? Any question? I think we are good. By the way, because we missed yesterday's class, that's why we are. This class is happening today. Tomorrow we will be having class exactly at 9 p.m. where we will be working some cool things on Google collaboration, right? So we are moving one step, or we are taking just the baby steps. But once these four parameters are complete, we can combine them and make a machine learning model, which is going to be our first machine learning model. Having said that, see you tomorrow. Bye for now.